Welcome back to another episode of the HUSLA podcast. We have an unbelievable guest here today. It's going to be a big introduction. I'm gonna nail it because we wouldn't be sitting in this space today without this guy, Jamie Smith. Runs Melbourne Strength Culture, and I forgot
Training Model,
which is Melbourne Strength Culture is a gym for strength lifters. About on the mark. Yeah. And Training Model is a coach development program, and it's very individualized. And Jamie does that to help and lift the industry and help out young coaches. So, and that's the reason I say that we wouldn't be here without him, because Jamie was one of my first mentors and still is a mentor, and very honoured to have him on the podcast today.
Honoured to be here.
Yeah, all of us here did the coach development program.
Prerequisite for working at HUSLA.
There was there was at that
still
point.
Fucking is.
Yeah, still is. Nice.
Fucking oath.
Yeah, mad. That was way back. That was like
2020. I did it.
Yeah, it was like coming through COVID.
Yeah,
it was a little side hustle in COVID for me. Yeah,
it was. Well, for me, it was early days.
The internship.
No license. You picked me up every Wednesday with the in-person internship.
Who's your dad?
I did. I looked after you. I could see the potential in you, Jace.
Jamie created me.
I reckon go back to the story of you guys meeting.
No, you used to train with Charlie, didn't you? At HUSLA.
No, not HUSLA.
No. At Hammer House. That was when I met you. I met you at a few nights out.
I thought you hated me.
No, never. No.
And then who was that one of the other coaches that you had on board at that time?
Johnny.
Physio. Johnny boy.
Johnny.
Yeah. Yeah, and he was like to me, he's like, we'll get you to deadlift 300 in 12 months.
Yep.
And I was like,
yeah,
let's go.
Yeah.
And I think I was doing my own programming, and I think that was stupid.
Yeah, you used to do 5x10, but then the last set was an AMRAP, but you were trying to trick yourself. You'd be like, nah, I'm doing 5x10, and then you'd wink at me and be like, it's an AMRAP. And then you just do 20 reps, and every week you would increase by something fucking stupid. I think
it was 5 kilo a week, but it lasted 12 weeks or something.
And this is doing 5x10.
Yeah,
5x10
on deadlifts. And I was like, mate, you are going to destroy yourself.
But
and then he finally signed up.
We hit the targets. I signed up, and then my strength went exponentially through the roof.
Yep.
Which is good times.
Yep.
But that's how essentially we met. That's where my journey started with Jamie. But Jamie's journey started well before we met. I would have been a toddler or something back then. But I'm pretty sure you did some development yourself in the US. Actually, you know what? You take us through your journey, your development as a coach.
Yeah,
Start from the beginning.
Jeep
Wrangler.
Yeah, Jeep Wrangler. Yeah, the Wrangler's in there. I finished school, and I loved training from 14. Just
Simply Shredded.
Ziz, the Ziz era. Simply Shredded. I love, I'm an autist for anatomy. I don't know why. I just love anatomy. I used to just read anatomy blogs and fucking learn about muscles and bones and shit. And I couldn't quench that thirst. I don't know. And I still can't for some reason. I just wanted to learn more and more. So that was from 14 through school, obviously playing sport and shit, but sport eventually. Similar story to most people, I think, that end up lifting weights for quote unquote their job. And it kind of took over sport, and I was like, I want to do more of this. And then I got sort of pushed in to do a business degree, a double degree at Monash, business marketing. And I hated it. And I actually quit after 3 weeks, and I didn't tell my parents. And if you've met my mum's pretty upfront with a lot of things. And she was like, that's great. You're paying rent or you're working, so sort it out. And I was like, fuck. So I was like, what can I do? So I started doing personal training. I was like, I'll just do that as a little bridge. Had no intention of going back and doing more study or anything. And then, so I started personal training just as I turned 19, just at Big Chain Gyms, Recreation, down on South Road there, which is no longer there anymore. Yep. And then Hampton, then worked in a small studio, then went back to uni, did sports science. And then I wanted to become an S&C coach and work in everyone generally wants to do that at the start.
And then you realise?
Yeah, I worked with athletes. I actually got fired. Yeah, I did internships, met Woodford. That was where Woodford comes into my world. And then eventually at like 22, 23, I got a job at AFL level. And then I got fired just before the season started, or just towards the end of pre-season.
What'd you do?
I got told that my personality was too strong.
Really?
That's how I remember it being like given to me, like the feedback, I guess. I think I was too, because I was interning at the AFL level and I had the VFL job at Carlton, head of strength. And I have a feeling, looking back at it, I have a feeling that the people in the AFL weren't happy that I was also part of the paid positions in the VFL, and that maybe I was going to like take their job or some shit. I don't know. But I got told that my personality was too strong for that at 22 years old or whatever it was, 23 years old.
It's very interesting.
Yeah. And then Woodford. Woodford was my what I am to you. Woodford is for me, my original mentor, and very helpful, offered me a lot of advice, and eventually he was like, man, I think you just got to go to America and see how you go, see what it's like over there, see if you really want to do this. So I got an internship over there for 6 months, and that's when it all turned for me.
Were you looking to open up a gym before you went, or...?
No, I still wanted to do strength and conditioning. I kind of wanted to work in America. So the goal was to build enough connections, and then hopefully somebody would like there was a way to sponsor a visa for like 12 months or something over there so that I could work. But then I got over there and at Cressy, just the way that their gym was run, they were a team of coaches, which I hadn't seen. I saw it at Woodford, but all the previous places I'd worked at, it was like you're an individual coach just working for yourself, I guess. And then when I got to Cressy, I was like, oh, this is actually sick. Like, they're all working towards the same goal, moving in the same direction. There was like education processes and upskill processes for the staff. The community of the clients was awesome. I felt like it was an actual business more than just a gym, and I was like, this is sick. Like, Australia needs this. And then, so that was 2016. So
Can I ask, why America in the first place?
Woodford just told me to do it. I just did it. Yeah. That was like everyone, especially in the strength and conditioning world, Australia doesn't really like value strength training for good reason. Our sports don't really require it. So like AFL, rugby definitely does, but like AFL being the dominant sport in Melbourne, it was always the conditioning side of things that was like what people had value in. And I loved the strength training side of stuff. So Woody was like, just go to America. That's what they do over there, because it's all power sports over there.
And they're very progressed. They like...
Yeah, I've thought about it more. I thought about it when I was actually over there. I think it's the college sector and getting scholarships at the college level is why they are so progressed, because parents want their kids to go to good schools, and one of the best ways to get in the good schools is to get a sports scholarship. So if their kids at like 14, 15, 16 become fucking savages, like physical savages, they've got a better opportunity of getting a scholarship, and because the schooling over there is so expensive and all of that sort of stuff. So it's just a completely different industry, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah. And it all feeds from that. So Woody was like, just go over there. And also Woody had done his own internship over there. It's like it changed my perspective of everything, and I was like, all right, fuck it, I'll just do it.
Did he do it under DeFranco?
No, he did Maryland.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
the football program at Maryland. But he went back over there and did some stuff with DeFranco, ended up on their podcast, or his podcast. And then over there, I was like, this needs to happen. And I started looking for equipment in Melbourne when I was over there. And this is when Iron Edge went under. I don't know if you guys were around at that point, but Iron Edge went bust. And I knew just through connections the guy that used to work at the factory and like did a lot of the distribution-based stuff. And I messaged him. I said, I heard Iron Edge has gone under. Is there a chance I could grab some stuff? He's like, yeah, when are you back? And it was like perfect timing. So I just went in there and bought a whole fucking bunch of gym equipment, found a lease and started it.
So Iron Edge came back.
Iron Edge got bought out. I don't know the ins and outs of it now, but it got bought out, I think, by an overseas... I believe from like an overseas company or whatever, and then they had the, I don't know, it eventually got bought out and brought back to Australia, and then they pivoted their direction a little bit to what they're doing now. Yeah.
Well, talk us through, like, when you were over there with Cressy, what was a, like, typical day for you? And would you say, like, these days you would say the same thing to a young coach, what he said to you?
To go there?
Yeah.
You don't have to go to America. I think there's enough now in Australia, but you definitely, if you actually want to do this job, you have to find people that are ahead of you. Like, you have to.
Yeah.
Like, you have to develop your ideas, your training philosophy, your processes. So you don't have to go to America, but definitely find somewhere that you can just live and breathe it. You did it with us at Culture. You did it with us at Culture. You guys did it with us at Culture. Yeah. Like, you don't have to go overseas. It's just go somewhere that you can get a better understanding of the whole fucking thing. Yeah. But at Cressy, I was a full-time intern for 5 months, completely unpaid, 38 hours a week.
Wow.
How'd you survive, man?
Just off savings. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you still have the Wrangler at that point?
No, the Wrangler was... I think the Wrangler was before then, yeah. Yeah, I smashed my fucking blue wagon. I was 21 when I smashed that. I smashed the blue wagon and then I bought a Wrangler as a PT in Hampton.
You've had some car crashes, haven't you?
I've had plenty of car crashes. I'm the reason that 20-year-old males get charged more for their insurance.
Yeah.
You're looking at him. Yeah. I think I've had like 5 accidents.
Oh my God.
Shit.
Like dumb shit. The worst one, driving over that little hill in Warrigal Road, in that little bit that goes over the train line at Oakley. This would have been like 2013 maybe. And I was late to my exam and I was driving over there and I was like dodging a truck and I smashed into this car. She like was in the right lane. I was trying to get out of the left lane and hit it. And then we pulled over the road and went down the side street and it was my lecturer.
Oh my God, what?
It was my fucking lecturer.
Shit.
I was like, I'm so sorry, I've got to go to Deakin. And I actually didn't know that they were my lecturer because I never went to any of the lectures. He's like, I'm a lecturer at Deakin. I'm like, yeah, I've got this fucking exam. He's like, are you a fucking sports science? I was like, shit. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That was one of them. But
You made it on time?
no, I was a little late. But I passed. Got HD, distinction.
You still drove the
Average
car?
distinction. Yeah, I drove it there.
Did you do the bare minimum in uni?
I didn't do anything at uni, yeah. I didn't go to any of the lectures. It was just as it started to transition to heavily online, like just uni in general. I just did enough, Tick the box, tell them what they want to hear and get your marks and move on. Yeah.
What do you reckon about the courses that, like, exercise science and stuff, like from what you learnt compared to what you actually use in the real world?
Yeah, so that's a common one for young coaches. They quite often ask that, especially people that have started coaching already. And I don't think that sports science is needed in any capacity, no. I think you're better off spending that 30 grand on actual experiences. Being like going to, if I was to take 20 grand at 21 years old again, and
much more than that now, yeah.
Yeah, but I could, if I could do uni or go do that 5-month internship, I'd recommend the 5-month internship to basically everyone. Different story if you want to get into strength and conditioning, if you want to go down that path, or if you want to pivot into like one of the rehab or allied health professions, completely different story. But if you just want to coach, which is definitely a viable career, you don't need it. No,
100%.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it for probably 95% of people.
The practical stuff was like the worst.
Yeah, not at all. It's terrible. I've thought, because I've got people now that I've been in the industry with who are now teaching at unis, and I have considered potentially doing that at some point because I do love the education side of stuff. But I wouldn't recommend it. No, you don't need it. You're better off hiring a coach, fucking joining a gym that's a little bit more expensive and getting around other coaches and asking better questions and learning. Yeah, the online mentorships, online courses. There's so many cool people out there that create fantastic ideas and philosophies and stuff that are probably worth learning from.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'm saying that you
100%.
definitely have to go do your PT course as a minimum
Yeah,
for
you need
insurance.
insurances. Yeah, 100%.
There's too many out there that don't even do that now.
Yeah. It's
I
definitely
mean,
a wild
there
west.
are also like business coaches saying like you don't actually need your PT course.
Yeah, well, this
'Cause
is
we
the
need more
online. Apparently, it's all the online stuff. A lot of insurance companies don't even like. I told you we wouldn't cover those questions. A lot of the insurance people don't even cover online coaching.
Yeah.
Which is weird. A lot of them don't cover powerlifting, which is also a bit weird.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is odd.
Yeah,
It's an odd industry.
some of the stipulations in their cover for like the most common insurance companies, it's basically like if you read the fine print, it's pretty much like no heavy lifting.
Full pre-screens of everyone.
From memory, when I did my PT course, we weren't allowed to prescribe over like 6 or 7 RIR.
Really?
Or RP. Sorry.
RP
3 to 4 RIR.
Yeah.
RP 6 to 7.
Yeah.
We weren't allowed to prescribe more than that.
Yeah. Wow.
Which is like almost junk
It's not
volume.
even training.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think I was even taught RP. Like it was on the Borg scale of 20.
Borgs. Fucking
Like-
oath. 6 to 20.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's in there. Yeah. And that's the other thing. Like the best ideas they're outside of those big conglomerates of education, like universities and like the big certifications, like the ASCA based stuff and all of that. Because they've got so many people working for it, they're always slightly behind somebody like a Mike Teixeira for strength training. Like he's literally at the forefront thinking for powerlifting and all that sort of stuff. Like you're just better off going to learn from Mike Teixeira if that's the stuff that you want to learn. Yeah.
There's heaps of shit
Someone
online
that
for that.
dedicates their whole
Yeah.
life.
Yeah. And there's those people everywhere. Like they're yeah.
And you are one of them.
Yeah. I'm trying to be.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be. Yeah. I want to be.
So I want to go back. Sorry.
No, you go.
I want to
Yeah.
go back to Culture 1.0.
1.0.
I obviously came in a little bit later.
Yep.
I was coming to your seminars, and I remember you were like, "You should get Stupids to coach you,"
Yeah.
because I had no fucking idea what I was doing.
So I set you guys
They were
up.
Yeah, pretty
Everyone was
much.
trying to set us up.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I remember those early. The first few seminars we did were like, I think they were like squat and deadlift, and then we had a bench press like upper version.
Yeah.
They were like 3 hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my first crack at seminars. Yeah.
That was the first exposure that I had to breathing,
Oh really?
mechanics, everything.
Yeah,
It
nice.
was. I feel like you were. I mean, maybe it was just the circle that I was in, but you were certainly one of the first to be speaking about that.
I think in Australia, yeah,
Australia?
I think I was ahead
Yeah.
of the curve with a lot of those things. Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't hear shit all about it prior to you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Man, you barely hear about it now.
Yeah.
Like it's, it's been however long since you started doing that.
Yeah.
It's definitely more out there than it
Depends what
was.
circles you're in and
Surrounding
amongst.
yourself.
Yeah. The people that I follow, like it's the anatomy focus is definitely the heavy focus for a lot of the people that I look up to and am inspired by in those spaces. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask because I know like definitely when I came through the coach development program, obviously there was like a lot of movement anatomy stuff was through somewhat of like a Hartman PRI sort of lens.
PRI,
what was your, like how did you get, I guess, into that? Like what was your exposure
Yeah,
to
so it
that?
started with the Cressy blogs back when I was a teenager. So I used to read Cressy blogs, DeFranco blogs, and Mike Robertson blogs. And Mike Boyle as well.
Yeah.
They were kind of like, and they're all American coaches that have, I would say, have led this current phase of what the strength and conditioning industry is, with online content and then just amazing experience as coaches in and of themselves, build crazy businesses, had impact at professional levels and like the average Joe just training, and heavily influencing like the performance end of the rehab spectrum as well, I think, just because of their ideas. So I used to read a lot of their blogs and stuff, and because I'm just interested in that shit, and I still am. It's still like my quote unquote passion. And then when I went to Cressy had, before the internship started, he sent me, part of their program, I want to say like 300 hours of, you didn't have to watch them all. They had like maybe 15 to 20 videos that were like mandatory, like how their business is structured, how their coaching philosophy is, like how the gym run. Like there's certain ones that were like...
You would have watched all of them.
I watched a shit ton of them. But then the rest of them was just like in services that they had done, and like a coach would talk about a thing, or they'd go through program. There was all kinds of cool stuff in there. And there was one video which was Eric had just done a PRI course, which is Postural Restoration Institute, which has... Yeah, you could talk about that for an eternity. But he had just gone and done one of their courses and came back and was like, I think my view of stretching has been completely dismantled. And he talks through it, and he uses the coaches in the session to literally like change range of motion like fucking wild. And if you've ever been around it, like you've gone through that, I'm sure you've done. Yeah. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, I just couldn't believe it. And I was like, holy shit. And then when I got there, I started asking heaps of questions about all that sort of stuff. They had just started bringing in some of that philosophy into their own training program. One of the coaches over there, Miguel, who was like my mentor that I was connected with, he then started explaining all the other, like the deeper parts of it, the PRI stuff. And then eventually at the end of the internship, I had a meeting with Eric, and he was like, look, you've done amazing. Normally our goal for our interns that have like ticked all our boxes and we'd recommend is we go and find you a position at a college or anything to take the next step and to start to work. He's like, obviously in your position, it's probably not going to be viable. You can't, I think my visa only had like 4 weeks left or something. And then at that point I was like, I want to do my own gym. I don't want to do the work over there and stuff. He's like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I'd love to go and meet Bill and Mike Robertson. And he's like, he made a phone call. He's like, whenever you're there, just let him know that. And I went over there, and I spent 10 days there. And that's when I really like saw what the fuck was going on. That's when I met Bill. And that's, yeah. And then I did more of their courses when they came to Australia in 2017. Yeah. But the anatomy side of things is, I think, the foundation of coaching knowledge. I do believe that is the that is what is required. Most people struggle with problem solving because they don't know their anatomy.
Yeah.
Yeah. When a niggle pops up, you don't even fucking they don't even. Yeah. I think that is the biggest why coaches struggle to actually have an impact. Yeah. Anatomy. The foundation is anatomy, and I've just kept learning more and more of that. Yeah.
Love it.
So that's how I got into it. And then I just started applying it to powerlifting. And I think I was one of the first people that started applying it to powerlifting, which is the OG Strength Culture YouTube channel content.
Yeah,
which
I
think
those
is
videos.
like where I built my personal brand through.
Yeah.
Some of those videos went fucking hard. I still get people message me about them now. I mentor coaches that were observing me from back then, all around the world, which is crazy.
So cool.
Which the wildest thing is, like with the training model stuff now is, so I've run three intakes of my movement mentorship, and they've completely exceeded my expectations of what I was able to do. But over half of those students are international.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That's massive.
Yeah, it's wild to me. And a lot of my, like I've just onboarded I'm started one-on-one mentoring. I took 7 of them on in the last 2 weeks. 4 of them are international, like American. There's a guy from the Netherlands signed up.
It's insane.
Yeah.
So
And
good. How does someone sign up with you?
For one-on-one, just send me a DM would be I'm going to formalize it though. I didn't think that it was going to be that
Take off as
yeah,
much,
not
yeah.
popular, but I didn't think that there would be that much interest in what I literally put one story up and I had like 16 people reach out.
Wow.
Some of them I hadn't done any of my other courses. I had this conversation with this one girl from Adelaide and I was like, you do know I have free courses and I have all this other stuff that she's like, nah, it's fine. Like I've just seen some of your Instagram posts and I've applied.
You tried
and
not to sell it.
no, I was like, there's so many other things that you could just get started. And she's like, no, I've tried some of the stuff you talk about on Instagram and I can't believe how productive and positive it's been for my clients. Like I just want to learn more. And I was like, all right, let's do it. Yeah. So
cool. So what does the mentoring look like that you're doing one-on-one? Is that like business mentoring? Because obviously you have, really good coaching experience, but also business experience.
Yeah. I've purposely... So when I did the CDP, I had this was in 2020, I had 2 weeks of just business systems. A lot of it centered around finance because that ultimately was one of the biggest things that I learned that I think it fundamentally changed my life was learning how to actually just structure finance better. And the book is Profit First, if anyone wants to read that. If there's a young coach out there, Profit First.
I actually bought that book after you posted it.
Did you use it?
It's in my bag.
Have you applied
No,
it?
not yet.
Not yet. Apply it.
But I bought it.
Yeah.
First step.
But so like I because a lot of coaches, and for myself as well, like you start coaching young, you don't even know that you're actually starting a business, especially if you work. You don't know that. You just like, oh, I'm paying rent at this gym, and you complain about the leads, and you complain about the fucking the PTM doesn't fucking, and it's like, yeah, but also you got to realize you're actually running your own business, and coaches don't get that, but they shouldn't get that at 20 years old. Like,
they don't get the skills given to them. They're
You need to
not
wear
taught the
so many
skills.
hats.
Yeah,
so.
Unless you can find a job and work for someone, different story. There's not many of those out there, but especially in Australia. But so I had like little couple of systems things, and everyone found value in that. And then I started, and then I eventually built a little separate course, which was called Business 101 for coaches. And that did pretty well. It was just like a short course that you could download. And then I started getting all of these like business mentoring questions, and I was like, this is not what I want to do. So I kind of like put the foot off the gas there, and I don't want to do business mentoring, probably because I don't feel that I actually am that good at business. I think a lot of the basic systems and stuff I can help people understand and better apply for themselves, but true business acumen is a whole different fucking world. And especially when you get to a point where you've kind of like hit a ceiling and then marketing comes in. Marketing, it's a whole other beast. And I don't want to do that. That's not what I want to do.
So your true passion.
But there is a base level of education.
I can help. I can definitely help people. But But I let them know that, and I would reject someone that is looking for just business-based mentoring. There's so many better people out there. I really, and this has been a decision since building Training Model, I really just want to be fucking movement, anatomy, and programming. Like that is the direction I want to head. So I'm just putting all my eggs in that basket.
Love it. Because there was a point in time where you took a bit of a backseat with the coaching, and now you're...
I took a backseat with everything.
Everything,
just from personal life situation. I took there was probably like 18 months there. I pulled back on almost everything. And I made a bunch of business decisions in that have been challenging, I guess, to sort of like fix, and the errors that I was making in that. I ended up going to a psychologist about it.
It's good.
And it's been a I don't know, I feel like I've just matured a lot in the last couple of years. Obviously 100%. Became a dad. What I want from business has changed. What I want from my stress levels has changed. My attitude to just like running through walls and doing things, like I don't have that in me anymore. I don't want to be that person anymore. I want to set things up for longevity, and so I did pull back a little bit, but I'm back in it now, which is good.
It's really
I'm
nice
back in it now at a I think a manageable level for myself. Coaching, my mentoring and the education process, but also just like managing the gym, running the gym as well.
I remember actually a while ago, years ago, you were speaking about how it's important as someone in the industry to try and create different revenue streams and not just have one. I can't remember where I heard you say it, but I remember you talking about that. Is that kind of like what you're still applying now?
I think absolutely.
And you'd still suggest?
It depends. Like, I think part of my like biases are because of my personality traits, and I like in that process of pulling back, I got diagnosed with ADHD with a flavour of tiz. But because I have these like immense focuses in my life, that when that passion or that motivation dips or something, and I get distracted and I start building something else, I think that advice came from because I have like a desire to not just do one thing all the time. And when I was just coaching, like at the peak of my coaching, like it just burnt me the fuck out because I was just doing the same thing all the time, having the same conversation about the same problems, especially because I was in the powerlifting niche. It was just squat, bench press and deadlift, peaking for comps, managing the psychological fucking world around that for clients. And I was just doing the same, and I was just like, what am I doing? And then, so I would recommend having different revenue streams to basically everyone, or at least thinking about different ways in which you can generate revenue. But if you're somebody that loves, fundamentally loves coaching, there's nothing wrong with just doubling down and going into that.
For sure.
because so I think it's probably at an individual level, but I think overall, if you want to run a business, you need multiple revenue streams. Yeah,
I think I'm the same as you. I like to have several things that can be worked on.
I can't do the one thing all the time.
Me too. And so each other thing is a breath of fresh air from the other things.
Yeah, and I love building shit. Which I think has come to my detriment because after doing a few intakes of certain things, or I get quote unquote bored. And then I just decide to build something new. But I've tried to purposely in the last sort of 18 months be a bit more thoughtful with what I'm actually building and how it's going to move long term. Yeah. Because, I don't want to get back to where I was. I was in a pretty bad state there. Yeah. Burnt the fuck out.
Yeah. Well, it happens to all of us for sure.
Yeah. And how you mentioned you went to go see a psych. Was there anything else throughout that process when you were very burnt out that helped to get out of it? Well, that was the main thing.
I think it was all recommendations from the psych. So a lot of it. One of the more recent things, which I think is a structured way to do it, was I've signed up with a business academy for the gym business to learn more of these marketing systems and sales systems and upskill the staff around those things. And they made me do this thing called a time and energy audit, which I don't know. I didn't know the name for it or a structure around it, but I had done it in the past when I was feeling that way, which is ultimately just at the end of a section of work. So if you sit down for 4 hours and you're doing work, at the end of it, just take 10 minutes, write down every task that I did or that I just completed, and then just traffic light it. Green light is energy, was fantastic. Yellow light is I was kind of there, whatever. Red light is avoidant, fucking didn't want to do it and all of that sort of stuff. It made me anxious, whatever it might be. And I recently did that at the start of the year for my entire week. And then the recommendation from this new business academy was the green light stuff, fill your week up with more of that stuff. The orange light stuff, potentially, depending on the value of it, maybe delegate it or at least potentially set up your week in a way that it's managed. The red stuff, get it the fuck off your plate. Yeah. Delegate it, pay someone else to do it, whatever it is, change your process. It shouldn't be there. It saps you and all of that. I did that at the start of the year. And that has been really helpful for me. Wow. Just reshaping my work week. Which, if you work for yourself, you might not be able to do that. But I've got staff and I've got systems in place, and I can modify things.
For sure.
But that has been really helpful. In the past, the first time I did that, it was just do more of the things that fill your cup.
Yeah. What'd you delegate? Is it
a bunch
sensitive
of stuff.
Information?
No. So certain things around social media.
Yep.
I delegated that. Certain things about not so much client management, but what my role for the staff was for problem solving and all of that. I identified that I don't want to be doing those things. They need the skill sets to be able to manage and problem solve those things themselves. So little things around that. Social media, some finance-based stuff, which was pretty easy. Competitions, running powerlifting competitions is something that I know is really valuable to our community, but I actually hate doing that.
Yeah, I didn't see you at the last one.
Yeah. So that was a big one, and that process and skilling Didier to build them and take that as a role for himself, and because he loves it and wants to do those things. Yeah.
What were your green lights?
The biggest green light was my coach education stuff. Yeah. And I had just started coaching again, and I actually was finding that I was enjoying the coaching again. So I've got a small client book that I'm just going to hold.
Limited spots,
very limited. Yeah.
Are you full at the moment?
I've decided to open more in March, so I've got a few. I've probably got. I don't want to go over 20. I could probably take another 3 or 4 on and then see how I go. But now with the one-on-one mentoring, that might change because And
when you say coaching, you mean coaching lifters or coaching people with businesses?
No, lifters. Well, they're actually just coaches. My full book is I coach coaches.
Yep.
That's awesome.
For strength training. That's the crux of it. Yeah. They learn.
The coach's coach. You heard it here.
Yeah. They learn firsthand my processes and how to analyze technique and
as did I.
Yeah.
For 7 or 8 years.
Yeah. I've got a couple of people that aren't in the industry, but I love helping coaches. Like that is the biggest green light. So that's all the mentoring stuff and the courses and stuff like that. That is what I want to do.
Why?
I don't know. It's just what I enjoy. I think because at the end of the day, I'm in the anatomy and the programming and stuff. That is what I fucking love. So who can I talk to that will take value from that? It's coaches.
Who's going to listen to me? So I need to ask a question. I bought a textbook the other day. I was like, it's been sitting there for ages.
Yeah. What textbook?
Training model.
Oh yeah.
Wait,
that's me. That's me. No.
That's literally your business. What the fuck is it called?
Strength training manual.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vergaskansky.
Isn't Mladen?
Oh, Mladen Jovanovic.
That one.
Yeah. Strength training manual. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is like a philosophy book.
Yeah. Well, fuck, it's been sitting like in the staff room for ages, and I'm like, all right, how can I make myself read this and put time aside? So I start reading it when I'm
randomly starts reading it from like front. Oh no, was it front? Was it
front to back?
Yeah, front to back.
Yeah, like.
I mean, textbooks, you can read them that way, but you're better off using the encyclopedia or finding a topic you want to learn about or whatever. Saying that, he's got a philosophy section at the start of the book that's
what I was reading.
That's worth reading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, what do you mean? There's nothing wrong with me reading.
No, you definitely can, but yeah.
Yeah.
Textbooks are not just like novels.
It's not a recipe. You don't have to.
That's right. She was like flicking from like the first page to the second page. I'm like, you're not reading it from back to front, are you? She was like, well, yeah. And I'm like,
highlighting
why don't
everything.
You find
It's all important.
That you're kind of a little bit interested in, and then dive.
I would have gone front to back. If I could read, I would have done that.
I think Mladen is. I think he might actually be the best brain in the industry.
The GOAT?
Not the GOAT, but I think he's the best thinker in the industry. Yeah. Mladen Jovanovic. Yep. Yeah,
Russian?
unreal. I'm not sure. He worked at AFL for a little bit, I think.
In Australia?
I don't think he's in Australia anymore. He makes no content though. He's just like one of those names.
Book only.
Like you need to be in and amongst the circles to find out who he is. Yeah. Yeah. He's got a website as well, complimentary training. Yeah. He's a weapon. So yeah, read that textbook.
Yeah, no. Front to back.
Yeah.
So what's next? Like, what's next for strength culture?
For strength culture is to get back to our roots, which was just high level coaching. Obviously still build the community and do all the fun stuff that we do around that. But in that period of a couple of years where I kind of pulled back, I was trying to think of passive ways for the business to generate income and generate revenue and do all of those sort of things because I didn't want to be so hands-on. And after, I would say succeeding in that, but then also feeling like I had lost a little bit of my grasp of what the business was and what the brand was. And reflecting on that, I was like, I don't think that's the kind of gym that I want to run. It's basically just to get back to our roots of just high-level coaching and education processes around that, yeah. And just keep moving in that direction. Like I've got no desire to move the gym, grow the physical space.
So you already went from 1.0 to 2.0. Yeah.
Our facility currently absolutely nails exactly what we need it for. So I would love to get to 4 coaches. So myself not included there. So that is a goal. I think it will take a little bit of time to get back to that. But
it's 3 now?
Yeah, we're at 3. Yeah, 2 full time, and then I've taken on James George, who was through my internship and just in and amongst the community a lot. So he's just started up and starting to grow, which has been really, really good.
Exciting.
And then I'd like to bring a female on for that 4th slot.
Yes.
But we've got some other things that need to happen before that.
You want to have conversations with those females now, though?
No, we're not even close to getting there. Yeah, the time will come. So.
What's an ideal, like who's strength culture looking for? If you were to like give...
Like a coach?
No. As a client.
As a client, yeah. we label them as inquisitive lifters. People that like training, that like strength training as the core of what they do, but they're also interested in some of the additional things that are around that. They want to push performance. They actually care about it. They prioritize it. Yeah, that would be the people. Yeah.
And so strength culture is not so much, or it's moving towards coming away from being just a gym that you train at to more so a gym that you train at with coaches there to support you. Like you define it.
Yeah, so when you sign up for Strength Culture, you have your own coach, but everyone helps you.
Yep.
Yeah, so the whole team helps you. We're all there to support. We're all there at different hours in the gym to help and offer advice. But you have your one point of call that programs for
so
you.
it's a gym that provides you with a coach and support.
Provides you with everything.
Community, the whole package.
Yeah, everything. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. And I think the biggest thing with what we have is the community as well. Because everybody there,
The strongest thing. The strongest.
Everybody there is doing the same training and likes the same stuff, and even as especially around Charlie and when Jamie B was on board with us, as their interest started to change a little bit from just heavy strength training, and they brought in some hybrid ideas, and Charlie's just done a half Ironman 2 weeks ago. We brought more of that flair into what we were doing, which has been awesome. But the crux of it is still just like strength training.
And the community moved with that as well, is what you're saying?
Yeah, we brought in Push Pull Run, which was amazing, still is amazing. We have now, like the Melbourne Marathon, we've got people that go and do that now, and
What's Push Pull Run?
Push Pull Run is a max bench press, max deadlift, and then a 1 mile race.
1 mile is 1.6
kilometers. 4 laps of an athletics track.
Yep.
We just made it up.
And but you guys also made up the formula to
The
Dave Bragulio.
to rate
Shouts
people
out Dave Bragulio. Was a lifter with us for about 5 years. Benched 245 kilos in a shirt. Benched 208 or 206 raw.
It's crazy.
Nugget of a man.
He's a nugget.
But he's also a data scientist, PhD in data analytics and some geoscientist. And I was like, man, can you build us a formula? And he's like, I can do this. And then like a month later, he came back with all this data from like all these studies of athletes that strength train and do running and all of this. And then we built like the equivalent of like a DOTS formula. We call it the Briggs scale, the Briggs score. Yeah.
So for the listeners, it rates no matter your body weight.
Yeah, your body weight comes into it, your overall strength comes into it, and then the speed at which you run the race comes into it.
And it rates everyone no matter their strength or weight or whatever, out of a number from 1 to first.
You just get points. You get
So there's no weight classes.
There's no weight class, but the weight class matters. What you weigh matters for your speed and stuff and your overall strength.
I mean, look, the heavier you are, the harder it is for your run, right? But then you'll probably most likely be stronger, right?
Yeah. It's our attempt to just try to build like a hybrid event. Yeah.
Is there any bias towards any?
Yeah,
weights?
if you're a really heavy, fast runner, you'll basically be untouchable.
Yeah, but that's hard to do.
Yeah. But they're out there. We had a guy run I think it was like 5:45 at like 95 kilos or something, which was like really fast. But then he also pulled like 270, benched like 140 something. Like, he was a good hybrid athlete. He won it.
Wild.
Wow, solid.
Who was that?
That was Craig Allen did it 1 year.
He's a weapon.
Yeah, he's a monster. Yeah.
He's a gun.
And then there was another guy, I can't remember the name exactly. He flew in from Perth for it though. Yep.
So
wild. Interstate travel for this competition is sick.
Yeah.
How do people sign up before you go, Anthea?
For Push Pull Run.
When's the next one?
The next one's in like 9 weeks. I've got to put the website up this week.
How many spots?
We had 40 once, but I think that was probably too many. We'll probably get like 20, 25. Yeah.
And when do they open?
Probably whenever this is up, they'll be up. Yeah.
Is it right after the potty?
Yeah. At some point. I don't know how long it takes you guys to put these things up, but it's on my list to do this week. Yeah.
I just look at Lockie for that one. And Lockie's like, I got a lot of work to do.
So I want to ask, you've been in the industry for a very long time. And obviously now you're mentoring a lot of young coaches coming in.
Yep.
What would you say has changed over the years, and what do you think more coaches and just people in the industry, whether they're gym owners or coaches, what do you think we need to be putting our energy towards?
Yep. I think the biggest change is online coaching that I've seen, because it was not around when I started. And part of that then becomes social media. I think they're probably the two biggest changes. And what I would say to a young coach is that social media should not be your focus. You can get a full client book without social media, just with good results of people that you can help in your immediate circles, and doing a good enough job that referrals start to come from that, and all of those sort of things start to happen, or in your immediate vicinity of where you train people. Because I think people get distracted by social media.
Yeah.
Myself included. We have used social media as the primary source of lead gen, I guess, or like interest in what we do. Basically since the start. But I think that a lot of young coaches, and it has helped and hindered us. It has worked really well in our favour, but it's also distracted me and distracted what we do and changed how we operate. Like we went through a phase with socials where we were like quite aggressive with like our hooks and like really pissing people off. Like that was actually our strategy, like to be a bit abrasive
Ruffle
and be a bit aggressive with
algorithm.
things. Yeah, and it worked really well. Like we had things that did hundreds of thousands of views and all of that sort of stuff, but.
I don't want to bring it up, but
What was that? Yeah,
I don't want to bring it up, but
Okay.
N1.
N1. That
was a funny one.
Yeah, the N1 stuff. That was through the podcast. Yeah. Like
Activation.
yeah, like all of that sort of stuff. Just shitting on a lot of like crap narratives. They are just shit narratives, but doing it in a way that maybe wasn't as productive, and it like strengthened the people that loved us. But I think it definitely turned a certain group of people away from us, and I don't want to do that anymore. But like. To the original idea, like it's not just social media. You can build a business without social media. Become a better coach, and the social media stuff should probably just take care of itself.
You reckon with online, you don't need social media?
Online, you definitely do, but I don't think young coaches should start online.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
But everyone comes through. Everyone that I talk to is like, yeah, I want to be an online coach.
Yeah.
And then like you look at their Instagram, there's no DP.
Yeah.
There's no post about
They
coaching.
don't even like posting.
Yeah.
I think that's
Everyone
part
starts
of it.
somewhere.
You actually have to like social media if you want to do that.
Yeah.
Like you won't be able to create a system that just runs itself and does itself and generates leads if you don't actually like social media. Like you have to like consume content and see what people are talking about, how they talk about things, and be able to edit and be creative and probably get your face on there. If you don't like talking, it's not the right thing for you. If you don't like, it's...
I think those skills can be learnt, though.
They can definitely be learnt, but if you don't enjoy it, and I'm sure you probably got coaches around you or whatever, if like it's always a block. There's always a thing.
They've
like
got so much resistance.
Yeah, you set the intentions and it never gets done. It's a red light. It is a red light. Social media is a red light in their little traffic light thing. Maybe that's telling you something.
Yeah.
And those people are out there, and that's fine. You can do it in other ways. Yeah.
Well, slightly different roles or jobs or whatever. You know, if online's not for you, I guess like maybe don't try and be an online coach, right?
Yeah.
So for like a young coach now, say just finished school, 18, not sure if he or she should jump into uni or whatever.
Yep.
Talk me through what you would suggest if you were to say have your time again in this kind of modern era. What would that pathway be, say, for the next 5-10 years?
Join a gym like HUSLA, like Strength Culture, like Nexus, like Zero, any of those. Lioness Performance for females, which is Beck Potteridge. Join a gym like that that have coaches that
Get it.
That push, that like,
and then
that would be it. Spend years there.
That'll direct you, yeah?
Yeah.
Spend
the path will make itself
years
from
there. Don't just do like 3 months, I try that. No, like spend 2 years there and do anything that they produce, do it. Do their events, just become part of that. Because I did it with Woodford. Because I was coaching already, but when Woody started up and I saw what he was producing and building with Woodford Sports Science Consulting, like the original days of that, I was like, that's where I need to be. And that's where a lot of my networks now are still from those places, or from Woodford specifically, the people that I have in the industry and that I know. And we all started there. I was 20 when I first went there, I think. But like Jared Kay, the sixth principal, that was from Woodford. Trent Peary, which is Inner Athlete, that's a Woodford, and we had another connection through Deakin. But a lot of, Avia Performance. John Paul Cowkey, my connection with John Paul Cowkey, which was my first powerlifting coach, was because he was coaching at Woodford. Like, you just got to get around these circles.
Yeah.
I did it with you
spend
guys.
fucking time there. Yeah.
I did it with you guys.
Yeah.
It was Anytime Fitness. We bridged to Hammer Strength for a little bit, straight to Strength Culture 1.0.
Yeah.
And
So you develop.
Yeah.
Because you're around it.
Yeah.
I think like what you said, you can't just do it for 3 months. It's not just something that you're trying to tick off on your to-do list. It's like you need to fully immerse yourself in that and try and squeeze as much as you can from it.
And if I can jump in, I think like obviously anecdotally, but I've noticed that a lot of people that want to get into online, it's sometimes seems to come less from a position of passion for training and wanting to coach people, and more from like, oh, I want the lifestyle of, you know, being able to work from Bali or, you know, having seemingly like short days, and, you know, people think it's just do check-ins and pack up and go, but
that's not how you run a business.
And I think like if you're going to get into a coaching space, like make sure you actually love training and you genuinely want to coach. Like you're not just attracted to like a glamorized lifestyle that realistically online coaches, like pretty much, you know, a day in the life is very different to what you would think.
Most online coaches make no fucking money too. Like that's they've got like 10 clients and they struggle.
To have longevity in it, you need to
actually enjoy it. Yeah, absolutely. Like
otherwise you just get shredded by the ones that are actually immersing themselves in it. Like those ones, you know, like we were just talking about before, like the guys that we know that are killing it at the moment in the industry, like they're absolutely and have absolutely immersed themselves in the industry and learning for years. And it actually like most of them probably haven't done that well financially in the first however many years anyway, and they're only now starting to see the fruits of their labour.
That's the other thing. You got to eat shit for ages.
That's business.
We talk about that
That's
all the
business.
time.
Eat shit for ages.
No business makes good money for years.
You
know, and you got to work like a dog. You've got to do your 70 hours, you know. I mean, I see it all the time. People come through. I'm like, how long do you, like they ask questions about business. How do I do this, that? And I'm like, well, how long do you spend on your business? And they're like, oh, maybe like 15 hours a week. Like if you went and got a job somewhere, they would give you 38 hours a week worth of work and you would be building that sector in their business. And that's what you've got to do for your own business, if not more. So I think definitely it's a little backwards how people think about it. Everyone, each to their own, but I've been recommending against the online fitness space to many people that come through and talk to me. I'm like, I honestly don't recommend it. It's a grind. It's a hustle. It's taken us 7 years to get here, and we still hustle to bring people in the door. You know, like Cam's at capacity, I'm at capacity. We're getting there, but almost 7 years now, right?
And it takes ages.
Yeah, it was a big slog.
We have an in-house content creator, a gym. We've got like pretty much everything that you need, and it doesn't get easier. It was easier at the start, actually. When I started with you guys, mate, I was getting like 5 leads a week in my little requests on Instagram. I was like, let's go, $30 a week, let's do it. Like, and now it's like, it's definitely like maybe 1, maybe 2 a week. And we do things 30 times better than we used to.
Do you think it's a saturated industry, and that's the reason why some coaches are struggling to grow now?
Is it saturated?
Like more people.
There's definitely more people doing it. I don't think it's saturated. Like that's why people are struggling. I think young coaches they're young coaches. They don't actually know what they're doing. They don't. Yeah, like you unfortunately you're starting in the mud. I call it the mud of the industry. Like you have to start in the mud, which it's murky. You don't know what direction to move. You start moving in a direction and it gets harder. You feel resistance. You get distracted by things. Like you're stuck in the mud until you get to a point where you break out of the mud and you find your direction, you find your interest, you find your whatever, and then you start speaking your truth more, and then you start attracting more of those people, and all of a sudden you've got fresh air around you and all of that sort of stuff. Like it's saturated in the mud, which is people that charge $30 a week, the people that undercut, poach clients and do all that sort of stuff, and create silos of ideas and narratives of things that fear-mongering, confusion and all of that sort of stuff. But until you break out of that, which takes years to break out of that. You guys have all broken out of that, but a lot of people, they never get out of it. And they just continue to struggle.
Well, I think you'll agree with this as well. There's a lot of PTs out there. There's no question about that. But you can look like gold next to them if you are upskilling, if you are doing a good job with your clients. Like you can easily separate yourself from the others. And to do that, You've got to spend time learning, upskilling. Like
Takes
you
time.
said, immersing yourself in
Takes years.
your environment, in your gym, getting a coach, doing all of these sorts of things. So yeah, although there's heaps and heaps and heaps of coaches out there, you got to do your 70 hours. You've got to do your upskilling.
70.
You've got to do. Well, look, I reckon anyone that wants to build a big business, there's going to be times you got to do 7 days. You got to do.
I think
you got to work 7 days a week sometimes.
I think as a counterpoint to that, though, Jace, there are also a lot of charlatans out there that push, like Jamie said before, like false narratives or fearmonger. And sometimes with that, like, super strong black and white messaging, like challenges where they get heaps of photos because people lose a lot of weight. A lot of the time, initially, it's hard to compete against them because somebody that doesn't understand, like, training and nutrition and sustainable lifestyle change, they get attracted to that initially because they see, the before and after photos, but they don't realize, like, these people have basically been starving themselves, doing 20K steps a day, 6 sessions a week. But
unsustainable shit.
Yeah. But then you do find that those people filter through and they come from those paths and then they come into a higher quality standard of coaching later. But I think initially it's hard to compete against those people with maybe bigger followings because, they're happy to sort of push a bit of a disingenuous
I think
message.
they're kind of like, it's sort of a positive, it's not a positive thing, but I feel like it's almost like an organic process, right? They do unsustainable shit to start with, and then they realize why they actually need you, because it's hard to sell what we sell. It's very, like, unsexy and uninteresting. Like, it's hard to get them to actually give a fuck about, like, doing it in a sustainable way.
The good work is just sometimes the boring work that no one really wants to do. They just want to do the flashy things. But that's why business takes time to grow.
Yeah, it just takes time.
It's got to grind and hustle and be consistent, right?
I think that's the biggest thing, because Angus Bradley would be someone else that I would... like, he's been in my circles basically from day one for himself. Not day one, but, like, since he became what we all know as Angus Bradley now. But, like, he speaks about it a lot, but he's like, I used to fucking struggle to make rent, and I was back late on my rent payments at the gym. Fitness First, he was coaching at initially, and all of those sort of things. Like, everybody goes through it, because I know a lot of people idolise Angus Bradley for what he's been able to do in the online space, and for good reason. I idolise Angus Bradley for that as well, but everybody struggles for many years. They eat shit for many years. There's very few people that literally just start and they're fucking pumping. I can think of a couple of them, but it's so rare. Yeah. It's rare. It's very rare.
Let's talk about dad life.
Dad life.
You've got a beautiful little
girl, little sweet pea.
She's so cute.
She's the
like
best.
Actually the cutest little.
She is the cutest baby of all time. It's crazy. She's amazing. She part of, like, my 18 months, 2 years there where I was very avoidant of work was because of the struggles that we had to fall pregnant. And the strain that it had on specifically Laura, but obviously, like, just the personal side of my life, created a lot of those reasons why I pulled back, and it was a very difficult process to get to where we're at now. So we're just, like, so thankful that and so happy. It's actually amazing. I didn't think that I would be the type of, I guess, male that it just, like even before, like, when Laura was pregnant, I was still like, oh, like, yeah, this is going to be cool, like, we'll see. But, like, within, like, 2 weeks, I was like, this is the fucking best. Like, I am that dad. It's just like, yeah, this is the best. It's changed my life. It really has.
Yeah. How has it changed you? You were saying before that it's sort of changed you and softened you in ways, or just put things into perspective?
I think it just puts a lot of things into perspective, and it's not like a decision to like, it hasn't been like a decision of, like, fuck, I need to be more serious about things, but I think it's just like, it just, I don't know, it just completely changes your perception of everything in life. My family, like, my appreciation for my family is through the roof now, and, like, I always loved my parents, but now it's a completely different relationship with them, and the support of growing up, everything that I was able to get as a kid, and the help and support I still get now, but, like, my awareness and understanding of that is so much stronger. My close friends, like that is, like, really valuable to me now that I have such a close, tight-knit friendship group. My business, my perception of business has changed because I don't want to go through those high stress periods like I was going through that ultimately burnt me out. So like I want to build my business in a way that's a bit more supportive of me and my family rather than just being like this hell-bent, run through walls attitude that I feel like I had for 6 or 7 years there. So it's just shaped everything. It's the best. It really is.
And any challenges?
To be honest, because we had such a shocking time for 2 years prior, it's I don't want to say it's been easy, but it has felt easier. And a lot of the things that most parents, like the common ones you hear, like, oh, you'll never sleep again, blah, blah, blah. Like, say bye to your holidays. I play golf. I love golf.
Really?
Everybody, everybody was like, oh, you'll never play. Oh, say bye to golf for 5 years. And like, that just hasn't been our experience at all. Like, who gives a fuck if like we're a bit tired? It doesn't fucking matter. Like, we went through so much shit for 2 years prior that I think it was, anything was better than that. So it's just been, So in terms of challenges, like, I don't want to say it has been easy, but in contrast to what we had to go through, it's been an easier journey, I think, because of the perception. Whether or not it's actually easy is a different thing, but for us, it hasn't actually felt that difficult. Yeah. It's been awesome.
I love it. So special.
Yeah. The family. The little family. Yeah. It's actually the best.
So cute.
It's so good. And I think that's ultimately why like I'm in the position I'm in now. And the things, and identifying the things that I want to do more of, and putting more eggs in those baskets, and putting more of my time and energy in those things, and building a business slightly differently now, and being a bit more focused with those things. Like it's really shaped a lot of things.
Love it.
I love it.
Amazing.
It's the best. Nice.
Probably wrap up time, I reckon.
I guess kind of just before we wrap up, like on behalf of all of us here, we were speaking about this, was it last week? Like you've been pivotal to all of our development as coaches, and even me in the rehab space. So thank you for that. Like obviously all your hard work and all the stuff we just spoke about and the shit that you ate for years meant that we ate a little bit less shit. So
still ate shit though. But
still ate shit.
We appreciate you, bro.
No, I appreciate that.
And what you do for the industry and what you've done for us.
No, it is cool to see. You guys are fucking smacking it. Like really. I know when you opened the gym, I used to get messages like, "Oh, you're not friends with Jace anymore." I'm like, "Shut the fuck up!" Like I don't. Yeah, it doesn't. It's. I love it. It's fucking awesome. And I also like. I'm just appreciative that people listen to me and feel that I have value to help others, and it's cool to see that people that actually dive in and do some of those things that we chatted about earlier, like spend time there and actually like get involved in it and spend time and put yourself out there. Like positive things can come from that. It doesn't have to be with me, but just wherever and whoever you identify as someone that can help. Like so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Should we do our wrap up? All right, so last week we did, for the viewers and listeners out there, we did a giveaway. I believe Marcus, I actually can't remember it fully, it was Marcus.
Yeah, I think it's me.
Marcus doing an individualized program giveaway. We have one entry, so we're gonna run it again. Let's get some more entries. How do you enter? You screenshot this podcast at any point that you like, share it on any platform you like, and send it to @hustler_media, and you go into the draw. So odds are pretty good.
Plenty of biceps.
Odds are pretty good. We usually get like 3 or 4 people, so it's pretty good odds. If you want an individualized program from our in-house, no, you don't do that. Our strength and conditioning hybrid coach, Marcus. Do what you got to do. Jamie Smith, thank you very much for everything you've done for us over the years, and thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thank you.
I think it was a really good podcast and a good listen, so we appreciate you. Wrap it up.
Yep, done.
Thank you, guys.
Ciao.